Steej.
The first tip that I want to talk about is something that I learned by myself that helped me improve my gameplay dramatically, and I don't see many players doing it, even high ranked players. If you have been a long time viewer, then you probably have heard me mentioning about it before. I'm talking about baits. This basic tactic can change the tide of battle instantly. There are many kinds of bait that you can use to your advantage. For example, using jungle minions. Instead of always killing the jungle minions such as the buff and crab, you can just leave it and wait in the bush for an ambush. Here you can see that we could have easily stolen the enemy's blue, but instead I ping my teammate to wait in the bush until we see the enemies taking the buff, because not only do we get a kill, but we also steal their blue, which is a huge setback for their middle player. Another kind of bait that I use often is when I have a really clueless teammate. They will often be out of position even as a marksman, so sometimes I use that to my advantage by hiding in the bush until one of the enemies takes the bait. That brings me to the next point. You don't always have to help clear the minion wave and show yourself on the map. For example, if your carry is clearing the minion wave and you are the tank or support, you don't necessarily need to help them all the time to clear the wave. Instead, you can provide vision or wait in a bush to make the enemy believe that your carry is by himself. When they take the bait, you can just simply counter gank. You need patience for this tactic, but it works like wonder, trust me. Also, if the enemy don't know where you are, then that in itself is a way to instill fear into the enemies and slow their farms. If you have counter ganked them once, they will think twice before ganking your ADC again, even if you are not with him. So we all know how significant the buffs are in this game, and securing them is really important for our ADC and mage, and especially with heroes that are very buff dependent such as Fanny, Ling and Harith. That's why we all must pay very close attention to the time. Most of you guys probably already know that the buff respawn after 2 minutes of taking them. So it is really important to pay close attention to the time when you have taken them, so we could preemptively wait to take our own or steal the enemy's buff. By the way, when stealing the enemy's blue buff, you can leave the small creep alive, so the buff won't respawn until they kill the small creep, which then will take another 2 minutes after they have killed it. But not only the buff's respawn time is 2 minutes, the crab and the little wanderer also respawn after 2 minutes of killing them, so it's recommended to always pay attention to the time when you kill one of these important jungle minions, so you can be there before they respawn, to either set a trap or take them fast. There's also something else that we have to take into consideration when we are talking about time, the spawn time for Lord and Crab. In case you didn't know, the normal crab spawn at 1 minute and 30 seconds. But if you attack or kill the small one 15 seconds prior to the normal one, then it will take another 15 seconds before it shows up. For example, if you kill the small one at 1 minute and 25, then instead of it spawning at 1:30, it will spawn at 1:40. And we know that the normal crab is way more valuable than the small one. So knowing this information, sometimes it's a good idea to not touch the small crab when it has already passed the 1:15 minutes mark, and just wait for the normal crab. The same case applies to the Lord. The Lord should normally spawn at minute 9, but if you kill the turtle after minute 7, then it will take an extra 2 minutes from the time you kill the turtle. So usually when my team is way ahead, I will tell my teammate to leave the turtle alone when it's about to be minute 9, and wait for the Lord to spawn, because if you're way ahead, you can push and close the game a lot faster with the buff minion waves and the Lord. Which brings me to the next point. How to take maximum advantage of Lord's buff. As you probably already know, when we take down the Lord, it will spawn and help us push to the weakest enemy's lane. So ideally, the best way to maximize the use of Lord and successfully push the enemy's base is by leaving the Lord's lane by itself and just push the other 2 lanes. and when pushing, we want all 3 lanes to be pushing at the same pace, but that's asking too much for random players. However, if you're playing a 5-man team composition, then try practicing this basic tactic. One of the most important things that we have to pay attention to when playing the game is to constantly keep checking the minimap. But are we really using it properly? We have to learn how to use the map to our maximal advantage. So as you probably already know, the map is identical on both sides. So if your team minions are over here, then that means that the enemy's minions are also in that area. You can use this kind of information to cut the lanes effectively, because once you have cleared the wave, you'll have more time to roam around the map without worrying about losing farms or the enemies pushing your lane. Also, do you know that when the empty circle appears, that means that in exactly 15 seconds, the jungle minion will respawn? And one last example on how to use the map. Here you can see that Johnson is about to respawn, and like all Johnson players, the first thing that they do when they respawn is to use the ultimate right away, and they will try to crash whoever shows up on the map. So you can use this information, and in combination with my first tip, you can use one of your teammates and counter gank the Johnson plus usually one company. It is recommended to turn off the music so you can listen to the sounds better. And in case you didn't know, you can hear all sounds effects even if you don't see the enemies on the map, like when Choi is preparing his kick, Kufra's charging, and Lolita channeling her ultimate inside a bush. Also, whenever I see that someone is in very low HP, I like to scroll around the map and see where he is using recoil. You can hear the sound of the recoil effect, and the closer you get, the sound effects become louder and clearer, so you can somewhat pinpoint where exactly they are just by listening to these sounds. Also, when the enemies are taking the Lord, you can hear the Lord swing very clearly if you are somewhat near around the area. For example, if the Lord spawns at top and you are anywhere past the second turret of top or middle lane, then you can hear the sound of his attack very clearly. So just by scrolling around the map, you can hear if the enemies are taking the jungle, buff, or any objective. So before you want to invade someone in the jungle, you can actually listen to the sound effects and see if he's by himself or someone else is helping him. There are a lot more tips that I would like to include in my next videos, so if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more of this content. Thanks, and I will see you in my next video.